What happens when a president's actions stir up such a storm that they change the course of a nation's history? And how far can political divisions go before they lead to an arrest? Welcome to the astonishing story of South Korea's most controversial political crisis in decades, the arrest of President Yoon Suk-yeol. In a nation where the rule of law is paramount, South Korea's President Yoon Suk-yeol now faces charges of insurrection, with his arrest making headlines around the world. But what led to this shocking moment? How did it all unfold? And what does it mean for the future of South Korea? It all began in December 2024 with an unexpected move that took South Korea by surprise. President Yoon declared martial law. But what was he thinking? Was it truly an attempt to protect the country from forces he deemed anti-state? Or was this an ill-fated bid to secure his grip on power? Just a few days after his declaration, Parliament erupted in chaos. MPs scrambled to vote down the martial law order, even breaking through barriers to ensure it was stopped. It wasn't long before the opposition had gained a significant upper hand, and the political turmoil intensified. As public protests spread like wildfire, some saw Yoon's declaration as a desperate attempt to cling to power, while others stood by him, believing he was taking a stand against North Korean sympathizers. But soon the situation would spiral even further. Fast forward to January 2025. After weeks of tension, a confrontation no one could have anticipated reached its peak. Investigators from the Corruption Investigation Office, armed with ladders, bolt cutters, and determination, set out to arrest the president. I decided to appear before the CIO, even though it is an illegal investigation, in order to prevent any unsavory bloodshed. But was this really an illegal investigation? Or was it the inevitable outcome of a leader who had defied multiple summons to answer questions about his actions? 1,000 officers, some scaling walls, others cutting through the barbed wire blocking his residence, and yet, Yoon refused to comply. The unthinkable had happened. South Korea's first sitting president had been arrested. But the controversy didn't end there. Yoon's lawyers have called his arrest illegal. According to them, the CIO, an anti-corruption agency, has no jurisdiction over the charges of insurrection he faces. And they're not the only ones questioning the legitimacy of his arrest. The political divide is stark. On one hand, you have the opposition, declaring that justice has been served. On the other, you have fervent supporters of Yoon, who see this arrest as a violation of the rule of law. The protests have escalated, with clashes between pro-Yoon and anti-Yoon crowds, deepening the divisions within South Korean society. Could this event change the course of the country's democracy? With Yoon suspended and the country led by acting President Choi Sang-mok, South Korea stands at a crossroads. The Constitutional Court is set to decide whether Yoon will remain in office, but until then, the nation remains on edge. So what happens next? The clock is ticking. Investigators have just 48 hours to secure a new warrant for Yoon's detention. But what will they find during questioning, and will this eventually lead to a trial? Regardless of the outcome, the political impact of Yoon's arrest is already being felt. The martial law declaration, his impeachment, the public protests, all of these events have exposed deep fractures in South Korean society. And as the country's political landscape shifts, it's clear that Yoon's legacy will forever be tied to this crisis. Will he regain his position, or will South Korea chart a new course? One thing is certain: the events unfolding in South Korea are far from over. The balance between law, power, and public opinion will shape the nation's future. Will justice prevail, or will the country continue to grapple with this unprecedented political drama? Only time will tell. Stay tuned as we continue to follow this remarkable story. Like, share, and subscribe to stay updated on the latest developments.